Hello, hello. So, what's going on in the energies? Ooh, it's happening. All right. So, I wanted to let you know, because they're just urging me to do so. You have a month to start to really do some work on yourself. Whatever it is you need will be happening. The wonder energy has been coming through. In fact, I'm about to get on after this with my Mystic members in Patreon. Yes, that's a plug. You can join. Look for it down there. Anyway, that aside, yeah, we are going into connect with wonder. So what is wonder? Well, it is very mineralized is what I get. So these minerals are coming through the light, and light of wonder is the purple spectrum, or purple gray, I see it as. That's how I see it and perceive it. Others may perceive it quite differently. But these are the energies that have locked in from source, and they're all being stepped down. So they carry a lot of information from many beings and many spirit knowings, let's just say, coming through. Some people may see it as the galactic crew that are outside, beaming the energy in. It's kind of and more, right? So it's all coming through its various ways, and it is all coming through orchestrated by universal workings. We are picking it up. We are being in the right place at the right time, doing the right stuff, even if you don't know you are. Now, probably speaking more to those who are aware they are or have an inkling they are, but don't quite trust it, or are learning that they are, or are well and truly down that track and are quite aware that this big shift, this big movement into what we call New Earth and the 5D body that is coming with that for both Earth, the Gaia, the self, and us, the humans, and everything else on board here, right? It's all changing up. So the vibrational movement is happening. And in that sort of expansive stretch, there's more and more bandwidths, and you are discovering where you're sitting, but it becomes easier to see the next step and the next step and the next step. So even though at times you feel confused, it is this stretching of your bandwidth, and it's a stretching of the Earth's bandwidth that you are able to feel and define easier. These lights that have been locked into the core and then bouncing back up through us, and we are getting them too from our inner spirit and our inner connections to the various beings, we are now able to really tap into this with awareness, because here's the thing, it's happening regardless. So if you can have more awareness or follow your innate kind of, I feel like I ought to do this, or why is that showing to me? And you start paying attention, being curious, being aware and allowing, you will be led to what you need to know so that your brain can catch up. And now this happening, right? So right now, we're heading towards, and that's the 20th for me right now. So the 20th is of March, and we've got on the 20th of April here in Perth. We can see it up north. It's a long way for me to go, but I won't be going up north, but we can see it at 100%, the solar eclipse. So it is the only place on Earth, from my understanding, that a full solar eclipse can be seen. Otherwise, they tend to be seen over the ocean areas. So it is very interesting that I live here. And those who else who live here in WA are feeling this energy. Now, that all aside, that's my own personal journey. What I want to tell you about is that this particular solar eclipse, and it'll be followed in 2 weeks' time on the 5th, 6th of May, something like that, the lunar eclipse. So they brought this to my attention so I could understand what has been going on with me. This very big portal of truth and energy and being very close could be very irritating for some who aren't ready to be close, could be a little frightening in what you see or feel, and that's different to your norm. So they want you to be ready, because the part that is frightened is usually your body memory or your body brain consciousness, and what it is decided is a memory, what it is decided on programming and how it's operating. So the cleansing is happening right now. We are having very big cleanses, or let's put it in another way, it's not necessarily big, it's prominent. So there will be something that really is important to be cleansed for you, because as you come into the closeness of that period between the solar eclipses and the lunar eclipse, solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, in April through to May, you will become very close to spirit. And if there are parts of spirit that you are scared of, or parts of yourself that you are scared of, parts of your power that you are frightened by, your body is going to shut it down and you're not going to pick it up. But what that creates is more confusion and pain and breakdown. Breakdown of the body can be mental, also can be all sorts, emotional, could be anything. I don't really know how it's going to play out for you, because each person is individual and has their own story and timeline, and the step-by-step way that is most important for them to comprehend and understand of themselves. If you're untracking it and pulling it all back, it might be that we have exactly the same thing to deal with. We both witnessed the death of Atlantis or something, let's say. I don't know why I'm pulling that one out, but it seems very prominent as part of the issues that may be coming forward. We both witnessed that, but I don't need to deal with it. Perhaps I've already dealt with it. Perhaps I'm not ready to deal with it. Perhaps it wasn't something important for me in this time frame, but for you, it is important. So it will be something that is brought forward for you to heal in your body memory, in your auric field, to allow your pure knowledge to come through rather than the distorted knowledge. So the upside of this is that we become more knowing, more connected. Now, this is already happening. Many of us are feeling it right now and going, what is going on? I personally have been going through some very horrible digestive issues, to the point where I was at the supermarket today and I just couldn't even buy things on my list, and they're fairly good, like good stuff. But it was like, no, the minute I went to touch it, I was like, oh, no. And then as I traveled through, I was like, okay, it's interesting what's in my shopping trolley here. It became evident to me by the time I got to the teas, because what had set me off was that I had felt intelligently and from my innate intelligence that I needed to have turmeric straight up, just a little piece of it in tea. Last Wednesday, guess what? On Thursday, I'm on the toilet, all right? Don't want to do all the gory details, but yeah, having an upset tummy for several days. But with that came all these other energetic change-ups, programming, minimizing. I did other things to help myself, had a wonderful friend who does healing help me. We learned and understood something completely new that's going on, this next layer and phase of removal of certain programs. Programs that were set up as how we see the construct. It's in all of us, right? But you've got to change in order to become, how do we see the construct now when we're in this multidimensional world, these dimensional beings that we're going to be dealing with, the differences, I don't even know what they're going to be, plus our own mystic body change-ups. What is that all going to be, right? So we need to be prepared for all of this. There is also this shift. I don't know how that's going to play out. It could be that we suddenly move to that. Some of us will be aware we've moved and some may not. But I feel like there's more to it. There's like, hey, do you have to suffer as much along the way? So what can you do? And there's this part of this is this habitual stuff that the body pushes us towards. It might be habitual thoughts. It might be habitual ways of seeing and acting. It might be habitual energy ways that you're not even aware that you have in your field that you're putting out or bringing in or doing, or some sort of action. It could be more along the lines of being offended far more easily about something that is coming from some sort of wound or trauma, be it this life, another life, or part of your body memory, let's say, your genetic memory, your DNA memory. Okay, so what else is there? For me, it's been very much in my body about some of the roles I played in universal time. Not the nice roles, being a little nasty. Played my roles, right? And so it's part of the shadow memory and scarring in my system. So this breaks my body down. This is what's called aging, okay? And along with many other bits that go with that, right? As to how come we get sick and what happens as we age. And if we're lucky, we choose to just leave the body quite easily. Not many of us have that kind of a death nowadays. So what is it that is breaking our bodies down? And so there's these habitual fears, there's these lockdowns, there's all sorts of things. Okay, they're saying don't worry about trying to explain them all to you. You can figure that one out yourself. You are already on the pathway. You already have the steps happening. You already have others coming into your field. Perfect example. As I reach this tea aisle, go back to my story, I'm figuring out, oh, okay, turmeric. I feel turmeric again. Okay, maybe there's a tea, a little gentler than the actual physical turmeric. So I go over there and there's this tea that has turmeric, what's the other thing? Ginger and lemon. And I'm like, oh, maybe that tea. As soon as I went to touch it, no, it wasn't the tea. It wasn't the tea. Inner cleanse, it was called. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm looking in my supermarket trolley here and going, yeah, I can see it. You want me to have smoothies and those, smoothie bowl things. And yeah, okay. Now I'm a vegetarian already. There's a lot, but it was this very more liquid diet. And I just needed to follow whatever they're telling me to have at the minute. Part of me is arcing up about that. Part of me is like, I can't eat all the things I like to eat. Like I make this amazing muesli that I have with all sorts of things in it. And it has sustained me for probably the last 10 years at breakfast with nuts and bits and seeds and all these different grains and on top of it, berries and so forth. But it's like, yeah, that's just too heavy for the system right now. You need to keep it light. So I was like, oh, okay, this is the breaking. The food doesn't have to be so heavy on my digestive system so that I can tune in more to what is showing me energetically, what is shifting in me, allowing it all to happen, and then allowing that lightness rather than resistance, rather than the habitual cravings that might come in that push me to something else, nothing to do with my muesli, but, those crisps I might have, or the heavy food or too much food. Guilty of that one. So I just have to follow what is needed in my digestive system at the moment. So you may be asked in some way to change things up. You might be seeing something at you, coming at you, if you don't hear and feel directly as strongly as I do, or, you don't have that same kind of connection. Mine is pieced together. So I got around a few more of the aisles and ran into my very good friend who, she's amazing and she has this great earth knowledge. And funnily enough, I ran into her and it was like, oh, my life is so damn orchestrated, because I then went on to tell her, and I had already had lunch with her on the Thursday when I was having not the best morning. So she had been witness to me having a different meal than my normal meal already. So I went on to tell her about all of this and some of the other things that have been occurring. And she mentioned to take probiotics. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, because now you're saying, I remember on the tea, which I didn't feel compelled to buy, was also probiotics. So I get this sense that there's this whole new bacterial energies coming through, or shifting bacteria in us. And what bacteria do is fuzz the brain up a lot, stop it from connecting in its way. So I feel like there's this body section of that, and then there's sort of outer knowings that have to occur in the auric fields as well, changing up the electrical currents and what all is going on. So changing up the bacterial system. But that doesn't mean just go, oh yeah, I'll take probiotics. Listen to what your body says. It may want something like pineapple because it has particular enzymes in it. But what I want you to also do is to go further. Okay, pineapple, I am tuning in to the great spirit of pineapple and all that it knows. I'm tuning into this yellow. I am tuning in to the particular enzymes and knowledges that I have of this, even the ones that I don't know how to word, that haven't ever been spoken by human because they can't see it. So that energy, because that is the way that the energy has come through the earth, locked through the core, right? Come back up and entered that pineapple. And that pineapple is showing you the little key of light to tune into the greater knowing and to get more and more used to breathing every cell of that particular sensory light. So, and that's just from pineapple. thanks, pineapple. Okay. So probiotics, bacteria is moving, all of that. This energy that's coming through or will come through over this next month will be very on the mineralized level. Wonder has a lot of mineralizing in it. So mineralizing will help pull certain things out. And lo and behold, the person that's standing in front of me, my gorgeous friend at the supermarket, is someone who had posted something about that very morning. Now, she had posted about using Epsom salts, and be careful with Epsom salts, because if you have water that has fluoride and chloride and stuff like that in it, it may be that the Epsom salts will be soaked in, but they'll be drawing in the fluoride and the chloride as well. Interesting, right? So you might be better off with natural sea salts. Well, I'm all up for that. I get what she's saying, but on a greater level, I'm like, so the way we think that all mineralizations and the combinations and what we're not aware of, what am I doing that I'm taking in that I'm not even aware of, right? I think it's doing this, but really it's doing that. So this is why they're saying over the next month, can you please listen? Can you please take those little intuitions and inspirations and blaring things that keep coming at you, or turn up in the supermarket aisle and speak again, even though you just saw her post on Facebook and you're like, oh, okay, I really got to take this in, right? So what is it about it? These mineralizings coming in. Now, you might be led to a physical thing, but please remember it is also a greater light, and it is coming through. So all these energies are very mineralized because they actually come through Gaia from the core and then come back through, and they really purify as they come back through the crystalline nature of Gaia and all that she holds. And we are her and she is us, and we're made of the same stuff, right? Except that we distorted lots of it, as we do to her now. So this is the roll on. This is the next, what would I say, step as we phase into that 5D a little closer. I don't know what my words are. They're not really coming very well. And I've probably lost complete track of what I said at the beginning. Take the little tidbits, take what is right for you. By the way, as I stood and talked to my friend about all this amazing sort of understanding I was having and how I was being led to something new, and we talked to the solars and I talked about it, what was coming up with the eclipse season. We had this great, lovely discussion, and we had several people who sort of stood for a long time doing various things, knowing that we were putting out our light and information, and they were hearing it, even if they weren't hearing it, right? They were getting the gist of what they needed to hear. This is how we bring people up, how we be light workers. And then we chose that it was time to step away. And I said to her, look at the aisle we're in. It was one of the most chemical-laden aisles in the supermarket. Probably the second most, first most, I don't know. I don't know, what do I know? But the point of the story was, it was the beauty section with the deodorants and the soaps and some of the medications and the various things of that nature. Personal stuff we're putting on our bodies, right? And in our bodies. And then probably the next aisle would be your laundry and all of that, perhaps your cleaning products. How do I know? Anyway, we were spreading the light and doing our little bit of light work by talking this stuff into the atmosphere. So it was really nice to be doing that. Plus having the personal ahas with each other, lining up beautifully. I said to her, thanks for hearing the call and coming. I really needed to meet you today, because she gave me a few other things to think about. And yeah, just allowing myself to go, okay, so I'm going to have these particular things and have more and more. Man, they got me buying prunes. I'm a little worried. It was like, whoa, okay. But I got to not go, what does my brain tell me it's all about with prunes, right? I got to go with whatever I'm led to, because it's all my personal requirement, as is your personal requirement in this moment. So your team have got you. They know what it is you need. Now, if your team aren't fully up to speed, don't worry, because there's a whole pile out there who are, and they're helping you too, right? And Gaia, she's there putting that light out. you will pick up what you need, because this is an amazing miracle machine. When we purify this, oh my God, it has the ability to deal with so many things. And a lot of the time, these chemicals won't be a bother to us anymore. Will be too high vibration to even register them. However, we haven't got there yet. And there's certain parts of us still very bogged down. Okay. Or you've done the work on the spirit side, but you haven't quite got it to this level yet, the physical. So we're working very heavily on that at the minute. In one way or another, there will be these changes. So being super aware of that, bringing in purple where you can. As I said, we're about to get into the wonder. For the last few weeks, we have been in peace, the green spectrum. If you would like to know more about how to do that, please just check the link and go into Patreon and then look for the About section. And it tells you the membership, how much is, but go down further and you'll find a video and you'll find all sorts of bits. And, send me a message, a comment or whatever if you want to know more. Okay, that's it. Big dump of good stuff. But heads up, just giving you a heads up of where you're heading over the next month as we head to the solar eclipse and the great portal of truth that is open, and the very closeness that we will come into in that 2-week period from the solar to the lunar eclipse in April, May. Thank you, beautifuls. Throw your comments in. Tell me how things are going for you, what awarenesses you're having. Any questions? Oh no, no stuff. Do all the love. Come on. Bye. Travel well. Oh, didn't stop it. Do I have any more to say? No. I love you. Bye.